Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to my Nonfiction November TBR. I usually take part in Nonfiction November, but sometimes I just do it really low key, but this year I want to at least do the 4 challenges that Olive from a Book Olive has set. I'll link her announcement video down below. It was so much fun. But what I love about the challenges is they're just like one-word prompts, and it's just a book that really speaks to you with that prompt. So let's get straight into this. Let's get straight into the challenges themselves. So prompt number 1 is the word design, and what I thought for this one is the gendered brain, which is the new neuroscience that shatters the myth of the female brain by Gina Rippon. So design for me was an interesting one. Not only, like Olive said, is this book beautifully designed, like the cover itself is stunning, it's very eye-catching and makes me think of like neural wavelengths, but what I love is that so much of our understanding, or at least common understanding of how the brain works, is often wrapped up into cultural stereotypes and how society has designed people to be different and how to associate people to be different. So how people often say, well, you know, women can't do maths as well as men, which is quite an interesting statement, and how that kind of gendered difference between how one gender's brain works to the other has been so stigmatized in, well, especially Western culture, but broader culture as well, how the female person has always been made to be different. So I think this will be a very interesting read, and especially one that is in the popular science field and not one that I often read as well. So it's a bit of an extra challenge for me. So prompt word number 2 is sport, and that was quite hard because I initially thought it had to be a sports player, but of course it doesn't have to be. So I sneakily got this one in here, and that is A History of the World in 21 Women by Jenny Murray. I did read Jenny Murray, A History of the World in, A History of Britain in 21 Women, and Kathy Freeman, the Australian Indigenous athlete, she is actually in this book, so I'm going to chuck this on that challenge to fit this bill. But of course, sport can mean so many other things, and I just love reading these really inspirational stories about true women, their biographies, and what they've done to really make a difference within the world, and it's just so inspiring. So I thought that would be a fabulous read. So prompt number 3 is true, and I instantly thought of a historical non-fiction, and one I've been wanting to read for a little while is Sonia Purnell's A Woman of No Importance, and this follows a female spy from World War II, and she was actually considered one of the most effective spies in France. Not that that's greatly known, but she was a woman who not only was in middle age, but she had a peg leg as well, and she still managed to be one of the most effective spies in France. And she managed, not only was she just a spy herself, but she managed a resistance group within a district in France. So I thought this was absolutely amazing, and to know this is a true story, and to know many of these things actually occurred, and to know everything she did is just unbelievable. So I'm just very excited to read the detail of her life. And sorry, this first name's Virginia Hall. I can't believe I forgot to say that at the beginning, but she sounds like an absolutely fascinating woman. The last prompt is the word voice, and for this one I've taken a little bit of a different turn. I'm going to read Be the Change by Gina Martin. This was one of the books that I picked up when I was in England, and what I loved about this book, it's about a woman who used her voice for activism, and she wanted to change how the laws were surrounding taking illicit photos of women, especially when it was that one, without their consent, and 2, in nightclubs and things like that. And many of those instances weren't actually considered under British law as to be punishable in any respect. It was just a bit of, you know, people having a bit of a lark, and it wasn't actually considered as a traumatic event. So she wanted to change the law, and so she challenged the courts to bring this into law and to bring this into a binding change. And so it's a little bit of an inspirational book to also allow people to seize the power of their own voice, especially that activism has become such an active part of our current society around the world, and how, you know, many political groups aren't really listening until there are activists marching through the streets demanding change. Okay, so those are the 4 books I'm planning to read for November. I may, if I can, fit a few more in, or I might mix it up with a few fiction works just to keep it all balanced. So let me know down below if you are also participating in Nonfiction November. I know there's so many fantastic TBRs up at the moment, and I'll see you next time. Happy reading. Bye.